Okay, here we are. We have taken a connecting rod off. We attempted to get the bearing off on the timing side. I just don't have a great suite of pullers, so we haven't been able to do that yet. I'm going to have to get a better puller. We need to get the sludge plug out basically, because we're going to need to clean everything out. But we had a little surprise when we pulled the big end off of the con rod. The journal here is fine, but on the bearing we have some wear. We've got a pretty good groove, so something must have, we couldn't find anything. We had some of that, again, that kind of organic or that seal material that broke up, but something must have come out to the oil passage to the edge and scraped the bearing as it went around, and then it's retreated somewhere. The journal is fine, but the bearings are pooched. So, at least on this connecting rod. So, we are into bearing replacement. Can't just clean up and put them back on. So, there you go. There's a quick update. Okay, here we are. We have the Albion gear blocks cover off. There's the gears. As I repeated a little earlier, built like a tractor. Everything looks okay in here. We're just making sure there's no bits of metal, but we basically just want to reseal the case to make sure we don't have any oil leaks. So, and Dave, you have something. How does this thing work?
The gears are controlled by a single striking fork, so that two gears cannot be engaged at once, no matter how much wear has taken place.
There you go. What about false neutrals or?
Oh, they're optional extras.
Oh, okay, perfect. So, not 100% sure how all the gears shift back and forth, but we're not going to pull it apart to check it out. Everything looks really good in there. Clean. We'll do a little closer inspection on it, but we'll just clean it up and reseal it. The question marks that we have are more on the outside about the bearing washer that holds the bearing in, etc. So, anyway, everything looks lickety-split, and that's it. Ciao. Hello YouTubers, Socket Man here. Quick update and a couple corrections from my last comments in the last couple segments of the video. I had mentioned that I was going to try and pull this big main bearing off here on the end of the crankshaft to be able to get at the sludge plug. I had an epiphany when I was down in the basement envisioning it in my mind. It's like, I don't think that plug actually, I think it can actually come out without taking the bearing off, and sure enough it does. There's enough gap to take it out of there. There is some weird sludge inside the crankshaft that I'll be checking out once I get the whole thing out. This weekend, my buddy Dave, the original owner, is coming out. We're going to get the crankshaft out of the crankcase, so that's project number 1 for this weekend. Got to put a little heat to the case. The other correction I want to make is the gearbox. We had it apart, looked inside, wanted to just reseal it, close it up, but then that wasn't really too bright on my part. There's a seal in here, obviously, where the main drive shaft comes out for the primary drive, so that definitely has to be replaced. So it's part of the seal kit that I'm getting from Hiscox. So there is that. So I will tear that apart. I can't just throw it back together. 42 years on that seal. I can see me getting the whole bike back together, and then that sucker will be leaking, and I'll be ripping it out anyway. So other projects for this weekend: tear down the 2 wheels, rate down, tires off, rims right out, hubs out, spokes out, all that. Hitchcock wants about £1.05 per spoke. There's around 80 spokes, I think. That's about $160 Canadian for spokes. So I'll see if I can find, that's for stainless steel, which is, this was going to go back to be an everyday driver. I might consider, but I'm trying to put things back to original, which would be CAD plated. So we'll see. The front, the whole front clip, of course, is a Norton road holder, so I should be able to get spokes for the front wheel. And the manual has all the dimensions for the back spokes, so we'll see if we can pick some of those up. Other project, got to tear down the 2 carbs just to do an inspection on them quickly, make sure there's no major problems, leaking float or anything like that. I'll be ordering up a couple seal kits, which comes with the gaskets and the O-ring. So we're going to do an inspection on that, do some testing on the rectifier and the Zener diode. which acts as a regulator. A couple tests there, and I'm going to finalize the parts list, which is pretty long, about 2 pages long on a pad of paper, and we're climbing up there dollar-wise, so it's not cheap to rebuild one of these suckers. Anyway, that's about it. The other thing, I got my desiccant air dryer up, which will be for the air supply into the sandblaster. So I will see how that goes. I'm going to test it this weekend. Has not blasted anything yet. I'm a little concerned about my small compressor and volume. It should be fine for smaller things or softer metal like the aluminum. That I think I'll be good with the glass beads. I'm not sure how baked on the paint is on the barrels, but I imagine it could be fairly tough to get off. So hopefully I've got enough air volume to make that go in the blaster. So I'll be testing out the sandblaster this weekend. Hopefully that works well. And finalizing the parts list. All of the parts we've gone through twice now, so I'm going to do one final check. A couple inspections, a couple things to double check. There's been a 20 thou overbore on this engine, so the cross rings between the head and the barrels, I've got to double check them. They're not cheap. So if I can reuse them, I probably will. So a few last things to inspect before I get the first major parts list off to Hitchcock's, and then we'll be in business. Okay, that's it. Take care. Cheers.